Are you truly different? Have you ever felt like your inner pace refuses the world's demand for speed, that you move with a quieter rhythm that others misread as detachment? That's not a flaw. It's a sign that your psyche is refusing imitation. Most people present personas, efficient, likable masks built for approval. You feel the mask cracking. The truth is brutal. You're not chasing uniqueness. You're being pulled toward inner coherence. Jung called this individuation, the natural, rare process of becoming whole. Natural because the psyche is designed for it. Rare because conformity is easier. In this video, I'll show you the signals that you're not just different. You're integrating. You're not broken. You're being pushed to be born again. Understanding psychological types. Before we name rarity, we need Jung's structure. He identified 4 core psychological functions: thinking, feeling, sensation, and intuition. Each can orient outward, extroversion, or inward, introversion. That's 8 basic attitudes shaping how your psychic energy meets the world. Thinking judges by logic. Feeling evaluates by values and relational truth. Sensation grounds you in concrete, sensory data. Intuition detects possibilities, patterns, and symbolic meaning. But Jung's point wasn't to trap you in a label. The point was balance through relationship. Your dominant function becomes your conscious tool, the one you trust instinctively. The inferior function is its neglected opposite, hiding in the unconscious. Most people overuse the dominant and exile the inferior, which then returns as projection, mood swings, or compulsions. Growth begins where imbalance hurts. This is not about becoming well-rounded. It's about building bridges across inner opposites so psychic energy circulates. When thinking learns to respect feeling decisions, gain humanity. When intuition learns sensation, vision becomes embodied. Individuation isn't perfection, it's coordination, an inner counsel, not a dictator. That coordination is rare because it demands humility, shadow work, and the death of self-illusion. Beyond the 16 personalities, rarity isn't a badge from a test or a statistic to flex. It's deviation from the collective's preferred rhythm. Cultures reward certain functions: extroverted sensation in fast economies, extroverted thinking in bureaucratic systems. If your center is introverted intuition or deeply held feeling, you'll seem odd because your attention moves inward towards meaning rather than momentum. Jung warned, the psyche doesn't care about social metrics. It seeks wholeness. You feel rare when your inner law contradicts herd morality. That doesn't make you superior. It makes you responsible. Your task is to integrate, not perform difference. The real measure is psychological integration, fewer projections, clearer boundaries, deeper alignment between value and action. So when we say rare personality, we mean a person who can hold tension between opposites without escaping into certainty. Someone who reads symbols beneath events, honors the inferior function, and refuses to trade truth for applause. It's not about being unlike others. It's about being indivisible within yourself. Sign 1. The dominance of introverted intuition. If introverted intuition leads your psyche, reality arrives as pattern and implication before it appears as fact. You don't just see what is. You perceive the invisible architecture, the why behind the what. A glance, a phrase, a silence becomes a signal. Others gather data. You gather meaning. They ask, what happened? You ask, what does this mean? The truth is that depth isolates you. The collective celebrates tangibles. Ni operates beneath them. Insight comes as sudden synthesis, not step-by-step proof. You often sense outcomes long before they emerge, then doubt yourself because the world can't validate the premonition yet. People accuse you of overthinking, but you're not spinning. You're tracking futures. This can feel like living in a cathedral of images, cross-referencing symbols, tracking repeating motifs in dreams, art, headlines. It's heavy, but here's the key. Ni needs containment. Without grounding in sensation and feeling, it floats into abstraction or fatalism. Anchor it. Touch earth. Name what you know, and test your intuitions with small, concrete experiments. The mistake most Ni-dominant people make is isolation without integration. They protect their vision but neglect embodiment. Jung's remedy is deliberate dialogue with the inferior function, often extroverted sensation. Make the vision physical. Prototype ideas, cook, garden, lift, build. When the body participates, intuition sharpens, quiets, and becomes actionable wisdom rather than anxiety. If this is you, accept the apprenticeship. Your foresight isn't a party trick, it's a responsibility. You're meant to translate symbolic pattern into practical guidance. That translation, inner to outer, is what makes your perception rare and useful. Sign 2. The unconventional and deeply held value system. Another signal of rarity. Your values don't bend to social weather. They emerge from inner law, not fashion. This isn't stubbornness, it's alignment. While many people outsource morality to approval, you sense a non-negotiable axis in your chest. You can cooperate, but you can't betray this axis without psychic cost. Insomnia, anxiety, numbness. Jung would call this a shift from persona-driven ethics to self-guided conscience. Persona asks, what earns me belonging? Self asks, what preserves inner coherence? When feeling is a developed function, whether dominant or consciously cultivated, your evaluations integrate empathy, dignity, and long-term consequence. You don't confuse niceness with goodness. You can say no gently and mean it. Here's the thing most people miss. A rare value system doesn't announce itself with slogans. It shows up as consistent micro-choices, how you spend attention, what you won't trade for convenience, the conversations you refuse to corrupt with flattery. You may simplify your life to reduce moral noise, fewer commitments, deeper promises. Resources become tools for alignment, not status. Common mistake, mistaking moral clarity for superiority. That inflates the ego, then the shadow retaliates with hypocrisy. The antidote is humility and audit. Ask, where do my actions still contradict my stated values? Close that gap. Not with performance, with practice. Choose one value, truth, mercy, courage, and build a daily behavior around it. Track the psychic relief that follows. The reason this works is simple. Integrity frees psychic energy. When you stop splitting yourself, attention returns, anxiety drops, intuition strengthens. If this is you, protect it. People will project fragility or fanaticism onto your depth. Stay steady. Your calm is not apathy, it's alignment. Your refusal to betray your center is not rigidity, it's devotion to the self. Sign 3. The paradox of social engagement and isolation. You move through groups like a diver in clear water, present yet slightly apart. You can engage with warmth, but you can't fuse with the crowd's mood. Why? Because you track subtext. You hear the persona performing. You sense the trade. Approval for authenticity. The moment speech loses soul, your energy retracts, not to punish, to preserve coherence. This isn't misanthropy. It's discernment. Your psyche prioritizes signal over noise. Small talk can be fine when it's honest, but when it becomes camouflage, you feel claustrophobic. So you redirect gently. You ask the one question that exposes a real thread. Some people relax, grateful to drop the mask. Others resist because truth requires surrender. Here's the paradox. Your depth draws people and also disturbs them. They come for clarity, then flinch when it reveals their split. Hold steady. You're not here to fix or to flatter. You're here to mirror. Fewer relationships, deeper bonds. That's the natural economy of a rare psyche. Don't chase breadth. Guard resonance. When belonging is costly to your center, Choose solitude. The power of silence protects the self. Sign 4. The burden of insight and future. Focus. You don't just see events. You sense trajectories. The future releases a faint signal and your intuition locks on. You anticipate patterns before evidence accumulates. This is a gift. It's also a burden. Because others live by proof, you live by coherence. They'll ask for receipts you can't yet produce, and you'll doubt what you know. That doubt drains psychic energy. The remedy is structure. Name your hypotheses. Test them with small, reversible actions. Track outcomes. When your foresight earns a track record, confidence stabilizes. You're not asking permission. You're building reliability. Jung would call this the reconciliation of intuition with sensation, the body verifying the vision. Another weight, hyper-responsibility. When you sense consequences early, you try to carry everyone's timeline. Don't. That's ego inflation disguised as care. Your job isn't to domesticate fate. It's to communicate cleanly and act congruently. Offer the map, not the march. If others refuse the signal, reality will teach them. Trust reality. Future focus distorts time perception. You'll feel impatient during gestation phases, the not yet in which form condenses. Respect the spiral. Progress isn't linear. It expands and consolidates. Use the lull to refine language, build prototypes, strengthen the vessel, sleep, movement, boundaries. The psyche reveals more to a grounded body than to a frantic mind. Watch for 2 mistakes. First, prophetic martyrdom, confusing alienation with superiority. Isolation without service curdles into fantasy. Second, perfection paralysis, waiting for certainty before you move. That's fear in a lab coat. Choose calibrated risk. Act at the edge of clarity, not past it. When you align insight with iteration, foresight stops feeling like exile. It becomes vocation. You translate pattern into practice, meetings that start on time, products that solve real pain, conversations that cut through fog. This is the quiet authority of an individuating person. You don't predict to be right, you perceive to be useful. Conclusion: the power of embracing your rare self. Here's the core truth. You are not rare because you reject the crowd. You are rare because you refuse to abandon your center while moving among them. That refusal is costly. It ends false belonging, ends hero fantasies, ends the numbness that kept you compliant. But it births something greater, a stable axis inside you, the self, around which your contradictions can orbit without tearing you apart. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Individuation is not a lifestyle, it's a fate. The pain you feel is initiation, not evidence of failure. You're being organized from the inside out. Let the persona loosen. Let the shadow speak. Let the inferior function humanize your strength. The reason this works is simple. Integration frees psychic energy. And freed energy becomes clarity, compassion, and decisive action. Now choose your practice. One daily act that preserves coherence, a boundary you hold, a silence you defend, a truth you speak without drama. Track the relief. That's the self-stabilizing. Then extend it outward. Serve quietly. Less display, more depth. Fewer words, stronger presence. People won't always understand. They don't need to. Your task is not to be seen, it's to be real. If this lands, subscribe. If this confronts you, subscribe anyway. This channel exists to train your attention toward wholeness. Tell me in the comments where you feel the paradox most, connection or solitude, and what you'll practice this week. The next video continues this path. It awaits you as another step.